Welcome back to the Family Flex podcast. I'm your host, Martha Wilkins, and this is my husband, Solomon Wilkins. And on today's episode, we are talking about how to protect your peace as a parent. Whew,
Because the reality is, as parents, we're tired, and most people don't want to talk about
we tired,
it.
boss.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Whew, so let's jump into it.
Boss, as in our kids are boss.
You
All
think
right.
about parenting, work, marriage, responsibilities, bills, kids' sports, family, friends, church. You think about all the things that parents are responsible for managing and balancing. And I think it's something that needs to be talked about more amongst friends who are actual parents.
Absolutely. Let's talk about parents running on empty, just with that whole list, laundry list that you just gave. I'm just tired just thinking about it.
Yeah, I read something that said the research from the American Psychological Association shows that parents report higher stress levels than people who are non-parents.
Duh.
But there's this big narrative now with younger people not wanting to have kids
Yeah.
because of the stress that comes with being a parent.
Yep. And the financial responsibility just alone, right? Like the thought of even having to take care of someone else financially aside from yourself
For
i-
free.
in this economy right now. And it's like you need a double income over six figures, especially in the Bay Area, to like make it as just a couple. And then you add kids, multiple mouths to feed. That's just so stressful.
It's so stressful, but that's why this topic is really important.
Yeah,
If you're dealing with all of that on top of trying to successfully communicate with your spouse, etc., how do you protect your peace as a parent?
yeah. And when you're constantly pouring into everyone else emotionally, physically, mentally, like it's draining. Yeah. And I think we talked about this a little bit in our first episode was how to maintain your individuality in a marriage
Yeah.
and how to maintain that without losing yourself. And I think it's kind of hard because it's inevitable you do. And we talked about that. So if you haven't watched that episode, go back and watch it because we touched on that a little bit. But just constantly pouring into everyone else, you have to at some point protect your peace as an individual, but also as a parent. So we're adding a whole nother component to that.
I think the challenge with protecting your peace as a parent is you always feel guilty because you're taking time away from not pouring into your kids, right? So the challenge sometimes can feel like, yeah, I want to go get my alone time, but also I love my kids, I love my family so much, I want to be around them. I don't want to miss anything. So how do you strike that balance? Because that, to me, that's one of the toughest parts.
And I just did this past weekend. I took myself to Napa, checked into a hotel, and even when I left, like up until the moment that I left, I gave everybody a hug. And you were like, "Mommy's leaving," and Roman was like, "Bye, mommy," and I was just like, "Oh," like I almost was like, "I'll just cancel," like, right, like just from him saying that to me is crazy. But I was like, "No, I gotta do it." I've never gone anywhere by myself, never traveled solo except for, conferences or work stuff, but like for leisure. And so this was the first time that I actually had an opportunity to be by myself and not really have a schedule, not have an agenda. And that is protecting your peace because when I got out there, I just felt at peace. Like there was no schedule. I didn't have an alarm. Like I didn't have to wake up and be on anyone else's time. And so it felt nice to do that and just get up. I took myself to dinner, got dressed up, had a drink, woke up at like 9 o'clock in the morning, no alarm. I looked at my watch. I was like, oh my goodness, I slept till 9. I can't believe it. Worked out, had breakfast, drank some coffee, sat in peace. And in just the part of like sitting there, and it sounds very like simple, but just sitting there and enjoying a meal without your kids, some spitting out some random fact on YouTube that I don't give almost cussed, but I don't care. Or saying something to me, or somebody trying to dig in my plate, or Roman screaming. And so I was just sitting there. At first, I was like eating hella fast, and I was like, wait a minute, like slow down, take your time, like enjoy this food. It sounds so simple, but it was so necessary. And I was just in heaven because I was like, yeah, there's nobody interrupting me, and I can really take my time. And so that's part of it.
And I was happy for you too.
Yeah.
And protecting your peace, you just described what it looks like, because what it allows you to do is it allows you to come back and be more selfless, right? It allows you to come back and appreciate your home environment more
Hmm.
because you realize how important that is to you.
Just refueling, just going out there on empty and coming back full is necessary because we talked about this again, just the day to day, you feel so depleted over and over and over. And it's just like at some point you sacrifice your peace because like stuff has to get done. We on a schedule. We got school, dinner, lunches, work. I got charting to do. You got practice, and Roman has to get picked up, and so you lose the ability to like even recognize when you do need some peace
Mm.
until you get to that point where you're just like going crazy and crashing out on everybody. And then it's like at that point, we had already crossed that line. It's too late. So, in order to prevent that, you have to recognize when you need that peace before you get to that point.
And there's a study that showed that parents who practice regular quiet time and personal routines have better emotional regulation, right? And that's what you're talking about, right? Because you come back and you can be more present. You can be you're not going to be as tense as you were before, and you just feel like you came back and you were smiling when you walked through the door. You were just so
I was
happy.
like, hi.
It was so cool to see, because I know how important that was for you, and you went and actually did it. And we have been talking about you doing it, and you deserved it,
Yeah.
and you came back better because of it.
And I know it's different for you, like when you travel for work. And to me, in my head, I'm like, well, he gets time to himself. Like he gets a couple of days, when you're traveling and you're in your hotel and, yeah, granted, you are on a schedule, right? With work, you're still doing meetings and team bonding and all that. But to me, I know it's kind of selfish to think like, oh, you get all this time and I never get to get time. But I
Yeah,
know it's not the same. So I also have to recognize that when you're going, it's not for leisure and you're not
yeah,
doing it just to get some relaxation. You actually have a schedule. And
man.
so parents don't feel guilty like if you also travel and you have to leave your family, but you still need to take some time away from that as well. And so
And
that's a
people,
part of protecting your peace too.
and that's a great point. People that travel a lot for work or have traveled a lot for work will tell you how overrated it is, right? Because you get to a point where you're younger in your career and you want to travel, and then you start doing that. But once you have a family and a schedule and a routine, all that travel does is take me off my what I'm consistently doing on a daily basis.
Your
But
normal routine.
so
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that piece, because it's not a vacation for me. It's strictly work, and I still don't get that time to find a space to just do what you did. But I'm excited that you did it because you were so happy
Yeah,
about
and I think it's selfless to do that so that you can come back and give your all and be full. And I know it sounds all cliche, like, oh, you fill your cup and stuff, but it's true. As a parent, specifically, and we're not even talking about just in general with the day to day life stressors. On top of that, it's like multiple mouths to feed, to tend to routines, schedules, and all that. And so I just, that's one way. And I'm learning. Like, this is the first time I actually went somewhere by myself that wasn't work related. And I'm just like, why did it take me so long?
it.
Like, I don't know. So I know there, and I made a post about it. I know there's other moms are like, yes, oh my God, I need this too. Like, I absolutely agree. I'm happy for you. Like, I'm like, me too, sis. Go do it. Like,
Yeah, right.
and then it needs to be once every quarter or something like that.
Yeah,
Like, it has to be like on schedule so
yeah,
we could plan it out.
100%.
Hmm. So let's talk about what steals our peace. What steals our peace? Men. No.
No, man, we live in a world full of distractions, right? Cell phones, social media, um, every
Schedules.
artificial intelligence. There are we make ourselves constantly available to people. People call
Mm.
regardless what we're doing. We'll answer. I know sometimes I'm in a work meeting or I just wrapped up the new book that I'll talk about eventually. But there have been times where I'm writing and somebody will call and text me and I'll respond and I'm like, I'm
Oh,
not protecting my peace.
yeah. I think being overly available
Yes.
is a huge part of it. Personally, I think because we learn to be this way because of our kids, right? So our cell phones are always on. I'm at work just in case my kid's school calls or my husband calls me or my mom or my sister and there's an emergency. I got to be available, but we allow ourselves open to being contacted and being, just over committing to being available to everyone at every moment of our lives is not peace protection. It's the the opposite. And so because you're allowing people to bring all their drama and or your friend texts you, girl, guess what? And then now you're like emotionally invested in that conversation. You got work, you got this and that. It's just too much sometimes. But I think we live in a society where we feel like we have to be so
Accessible.
accessible at all times. Like it's okay to turn your phone off. Like the most important people know how to get in contact with you if they needed to. If
Hello.
there was an emergency, we need to bring back house phones because I want to turn my phone off, but if somebody needs to call me, you can call my house phone. I think
Yeah.
that's important. It's just like, yeah, being too accessible all the time.
So would you say peace requires boundaries?
Absolutely. 100%. Unequivocally.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's what I feel like I heard you saying, right? We make ourselves accessible. People want to contact us, reach out to us, text us, send
And
us a
then we feel
DM,
guilty if we don't.
and
Like,
then when we don't, yeah,
right. Oh, I see a text message come through. Yeah, I read it. But just because I didn't respond, then it's this thing like, oh, you didn't respond, but I saw you on Instagram, right? Like now it's like, oh, now I have to explain like why I didn't respond to you. Sometimes it's just I forgot, or I look at it and have intention. And we've all done this where you've responded in your head and you thought you text back, but you didn't. And, people just make you feel bad about it. And I'm just like, that's not cool. It's not a part of like what you want as far as protecting your peace.
and even about the relationships you have. Like, I don't understand why people think you owe them something when you do something, right? Like, if they see you in a space that they thought they should have been invited to, they'll be like, hey, no invite.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
if you were supposed to be there, you would have been there, right? And so for me, I really love the perspective that you just gave about being too accessible because sometimes, whether it's family, whether it's friends, like as you continue to grow in life, for me, for us, people aren't going to always have access to you that have always had access to you,
Hmm.
right? And some of those people are going to be offended by that. But the reality is, what I'm trying to do in this lifetime, sometimes it requires a different level of peace, right? Think about protecting your peace. For me, I'm looking for a level of peace that nobody I know has ever obtained, right? And that's just a quality of life that allows me to do what I want when I want with who I
Hmm.
want.
I was thinking, I forgot. You had said something that made me think of a point, but it'll come back to me. But so why does this matter? Like, as a parent, when you're thinking about it, like, why should someone even listen and care about this topic?
Studies show that parents who practice regular quiet time and personal routines have better emotional regulation. Essentially, what that means is when you are intentional about protecting your peace, you show up better for everybody else.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think just not having that leads to dysregulation, right? Which is what we're all used to functioning in. And so that becomes the norm because we're so used to functioning in that dysfunctional space of being accessible at all times, not practicing habits that promote your peace or taking on too much or feeling guilty. the mom guilt and all of that. Um, yeah, so I think that that makes perfect sense, and it's to me it's like common sense that when you practice all of these things that help you stay emotionally regulated, it's just kind of it should be like a normal process,
Totally agree.
but it's not. I know.
So, parents, couples, people in relationships, here's the challenge for you. Here's your homework. I want you to identify what protecting your peace looks like to you. Does it look like you going to the gym and setting a consistent routine? Does it look like you journaling and writing about something that's important to you? Does it look like you taking a music class? Does it look like you taking a trip overnight by yourself? Right? The first thing you have to do is identify what protecting your peace looks like to you because it looks
Mhm.
different for all of us.
Mhm.
Right? For me, protecting my peace is going to the gym by myself. That's why sometimes the challenge is with the kids. They're like, "Daddy, want to work out with you?" And I'd be like, "Oh yeah, come on." But really, I'll be like, "No,
They
like
get in the way.
I want to do it by myself."
Yeah.
Right? That's what protecting my peace looks like. What does it look like for you?
Just what I talked about. And I think one piece that just literally made me think is like the accessibility. It gives me anxiety to make me think that I have to respond by a certain time or like get back to somebody within a certain time frame. And I think that we just are so used to operating like that and just, with our phones in hand all the time, you through email, text messages,
Jesus.
DMs, it's like people just have access to you that fast. I'm just like, no, we need to cut that off. Like I need to be better at that.
So
And
that's what protecting your peace looks
right,
like.
but also, communicating that. So I'm not just saying like ignore them, but saying when you're ready to get back to somebody like, "Hey, my bad, like I needed a minute. I
It's
was
a great
caught
point.
up doing something and I did see your message, so I just wanted to let you know." So it's not like you're not acknowledging the other person, but just saying like, "Hey, if you feel like you just they deserve an
Yeah.
explanation." Sometimes I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I don't even say my bad girl. Like I'll just be like, "Hey, what's up?" You don't need to know what I was doing. Like if
Yeah.
I was gonna get back to you, I would have. And so I think for me, I'm learning how to not feel like I have to owe everybody an explanation for
Yeah.
things or for not getting back to them in a certain
Yeah.
time.
I love it. So again, for you parents, the homework is what does protecting your peace look like to you? Identify what it looks like, connect with your partner, talk to your kids, whoever you need to have a conversation with to share that this thing is important to you to help you show up as your best self for the family, for the relationship, etc. And when you communicate it, it gives you permission to go do it. Right. And
Hmm.
once you start doing it, you'll have that peace that you're looking for. Your family will be more engaged. You'll be more connected to them. Everybody will be happy.
Yeah, and then when it's just talking about the ripple effect, right? Just when you're at peace, your whole house is at peace. And you've mentioned
Ooh.
this before that when mom is mad, I think we were watching Mike Epps and he's fool that his new stand up on Netflix. He was just like when I'm sorry, when everybody was mad at the man in the house, he was like, even the dog was looking at me crazy. He was like, the dog was looking at me. He was like, bitch, you know how many bones? He was like, you know how many
Man,
bones
I
I didn't gave
gave
you?
you gave you hella shit. Come
Right. And
on.
it just made me think like, so when the mom is upset and when, she's not at peace and everybody's like quiet, everybody's on her side. And
If the mom
it's
is
so
mad,
real.
yep, it's so real,
And
right?
so it kind of dictates like the whole mood of the home. Like when I'm good, everybody's good. When you're upset, they're just like, oh, it must be something. You don't get the same like love. And
Y'all hear this,
we're
right?
gonna
She's
have to cut
admitting it
this.
publicly.
It was hilarious. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
it's called. No, don't be sorry for this. This is the truth. I accept it for what it
He
is. I don't
said,
expect it to be
and
no
the
different.
kids start walking by you with their dinner, talking about night night, daddy. That was so funny.
Oh
Have you watched that?
man,
It's hilarious.
that's hella funny.
He's like, we gonna pray for you. It was
Yeah, that's
funny.
hella funny.
But it's just important to like make sure that you feel regulated emotionally, that your peace is protected.
And don't feel guilty for protecting your peace. A lot of times there's this parent guilt that we have for doing things that are important to us, right? And so if it's something that's important to you and you got to sacrifice a little time with your significant other and your kids to do it, go do it
Mm-hmm.
because they'll be greater because of it. You'll be happier because of it. And you don't want to live in a space where you resent people because they made you feel some type of way about how you wanted to show up in the world.
Yeah, it took me a long time to do that. There's certain people, I won't say any names, but like
Yeah, yeah,
I'll
yeah.
talk about, and you be like, why do they do that? Like, why do you let them? It took me a long time to really like allow myself to not feel guilty. And it sounds crazy, but when you're like a giving person, or if you just have a personality that's more like, um, everyone kind of comes to you to like vent or like let their guard down and kind of tell you what's going on, and you're that mat, like you absorb all of that energy, what's unknowingly, right? Like you're just that person because
Yeah,
naturally you're just like a giver, a listener, a provider, and you're that person that everyone comes to. I was talking to my sister about this yesterday, like but she's naturally a person that everyone gravitates towards, and that's a blessing, right?
for
That's
sure.
something that not everyone has, and that's a gift, but it also could be a curse because you allow so much in that your energy becomes off balance because now
Mm,
you have everybody else's stuff going on. And she was just like, I'm learning because that's just who I am, but I also have to set boundaries, like
hmm.
you said, make sure that I'm not taking on more than I'm willing to do. Just because you're that person by default doesn't mean you have to. And so, to your point, peace is a priority, right? It's not a luxury, it's a priority. Everybody needs it. As a parent, and because we always kind of resort back to like talking about being a parent, and because this is our family flex podcast, so a lot of these conversations are surrounded around family, and family dynamics. So, but this doesn't mean that this doesn't, um, this can't be a part of your conversation if you don't have kids, or if your family dynamic looks a little different. So this is just from our perspective as parents, because that just adds an extra little extra stress on top of
Yeah,
the normal stuff that everybody deals with, right? We're all dealing with these emotionally charged conversations, society, the boundaries and balances and stuff, and then on top of that, it's the level, that's added with kids, and it just amplifies things to me, just magnifies it more.
yeah.
So
So this week, set aside some time for you. I would say 30 minutes minimum. If you get that already, set aside a little bit more, but more importantly, identify what's important to you, right? We talked about it already. Communicate that, share with the people that's the most important to you, and then spend time doing it. Because if you don't spend time doing it, then all this talk is for nothing.
yeah, so no work, no phones. Like for me, it was hard to put my phone away this weekend, but I did. I put it up on the charger, put it on silent. I didn't turn it off, which I probably should have. But and even in the morning, I was like, I'm not even gonna touch my phone yet until I like read my word, until I pray, until I sit in some silence, look, get some sunlight, and just sit there, like sit and just not do anything and feel like your cortisol and all your stress and everything just kind of like diminish. And I think we need to get used to doing that. And it's not a natural, thing to do, to just like, I think as soon as we get up, we're just like, boom, on the go. Like looking at your, I'm guilty of it. Like as soon as you wake up, you pick up your phone. Like I stopped doing that. If you notice, like when I wake up in the morning, I do not touch my phone until I pray, until I like wash my face, get some light in my eyes, and then I'll pick up my phone
Of course,
because
I noticed.
that screen light is doing something to your brain that's different from like natural sunlight. And so you need that natural sunlight, the serotonin and all of the dopamine and everything to like help get your day started before you go to this to seek it. And so I think I've been a little bit more emotionally regulated by not inviting all of that stuff into my world and in my brain the first thing in the morning.
Mm-mm-mm.
And I know this is kind of a little bit off topic, but I mean, it surrounds the whole concept of protecting your peace, right? Because as soon as you look at it, what do you see? Like, whatever's going on in the world, you got the Trump stuff, ICE stuff, everything. And so I just feel like you're already inviting the emotional dysregulation off top in the like at the start of your day. Like, who wants to start their day like that? And some people do. Like, if you need to,
That's because they're not present enough to know
right,
not to do it.
you want the news and but um, you have to be disciplined enough to say, like, give myself this time. And you'll notice that you'll start your day a little more at peace, at least for me.
Yes.
And then I'm able to like think a little clearer. I'm happier. I'm in a better mood. You ever picked up your phone and you saw like a text or something? You're just like, and then instantly your day is like shifted because of that. And so you got to learn to, start it with intention, prayer, meditation, exercise, whatever you do, and then go to that because that'll be there. So,
It's not going nowhere. It's what protecting your peace looks like.
and watch that Mike Epps episode on Netflix if you need a good laugh. It was hilarious. I'm sorry. We were just cracking up.
Hella funny.
Yeah. So, all right.
Thank y'all for spending time with us today. If you know a parent that needs some peace, share this episode. We would love to continue to build this community. Go follow the school community. We're looking for more opportunities to connect with people who think and show up in the world just like us.
Yes. All right. Until next time,
Peace.
protect your peace. Peace.
Peace.